Good evening, everyone. My name is Maazi Ezeoke. As part of our evening conversations and as part of our series titled Nigeria at 61 series, today I'm going to be having a conversation with Dr. Philip Idaewor. Dr. Philip Idaewor, for many who do not know, is a medical doctor, is a medical practitioner, chairman, Forum of APC Diaspora Chairmen, 2023 presidential aspirant under the All Progressive Congress. He is no other person than my guest this evening, Dr. Philip Idaewor. You're welcome to Njenje Media TV.
Thank you very much, Maazi, for having me on the platform. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about our national issues, about our country. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Idaewor, I will start by saying today Nigeria is celebrating 61 years of independence. What's your honest view regarding the 61-year celebration?
Well, 61 years is no longer a young age for a human being, but you could say that in the life of nations, of countries, some people will tell you that at 61 you are still a young country, but as a country, Nigeria, we see that we have gone through phases, that sometimes have been good, sometimes very traumatic and very trying, and we are going through times at this particular segment of our national life where so much is happening at the same time in terms of scope and intensification of life-changing events. And I think that for all of us as Nigerians, we should be interested and be concerned at the same time, but also be determined to see that our population, we as Nigerians, begin to look at how we are living our lives and how our lives, is having impact on the lives of other Nigerians in a very different way. Nigeria at 61, I say happy birthday to Nigeria. Congratulations to all Nigerians that despite all the challenges and all the difficulties, we have managed to remain together and trying to craft a new future for our country.
So now I come back again. Are you happy seeing where Nigeria is today, 61 years? Obviously, there are nations that are 60 years old, 61 years old, that people could say that, well, they appear to have done much better than Nigeria. So what's your take? Do you think that Nigeria is in the right trajectory?
The simple answer to that is no. I think that Nigeria as a country, my dream, my desire is to see that we have leapfrogged into the 21st century in terms of the deployment of technology, the deployment of our human capital, our human resources, to make life a lot easier, a lot better, and more aspirational for Nigerians, especially the younger people. I think that for any Nigerian who grew up in that country when we thought that yes, we had a great future ahead of us, I think that many of us will say no, we are not happy. You cannot be happy. You cannot be happy as a Nigerian with where we are at. I don't think so. So my answer is very straight, and I think that my answer will bed well with those who dream and desire to see the best of our country. Nigeria is not just an ordinary country, in my opinion. That Nigeria is the most populous black nation on earth, is the most populous African country on earth. what happens to Nigeria, how Nigeria, comes through, have an impact, not just on other African countries in the African mainland, but on all Black people around the world. For that simple reason alone, I think that all of us should be concerned and be involved in trying to ensure that Nigeria is fast-tracked into rapid development, but not just in terms of technological development, put in a place where our human capacity, the Nigerian person, becomes more valued, more respected, and more regarded, both at home and in diaspora. If that happens, it would definitely have a positive impact on all Black people around on the face of the earth. And I think that Nigeria is that important to what happens to the Black person.
So, Dr. Idaewor, in the year 2013, 14, 15, you worked vigorously to see that the party All Progressive Congress was bettered, and eventually you became the party chairman in the United Kingdom. Now, having seen all the work you've done in these years and having known you as a man of immense principle, would you say that the parties, since they took over from the PDP in 2015 till yet 6 years later, do you, in your honest opinion, consider that the party has done that which they accused PDP of and that necessitated them taking over power from the PDP?
Yeah, thank you very much, Maazi. One of the things I have learned is this, that of all institutions in a country's life, in a nation's life, the most important in a democracy is the political party. That is the most important institution in a democracy in the life of any country.
Do you have that institution in APC now?
Now, yeah, that's where I'm going to. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, I think that our political party systems are very weak and would you want to say work in progress? I think that we need to do a lot better to deepen the institutions of our political parties, to ensure that our political parties have ideologies that are embedded with the people. Our political parties become institutions that whoever is elected on the platform of our parties, APC or none, is in a place where they execute and carry through the manifestos of the party without ambiguity at all. Because all the countries that you see around the world that have better mature democracies, whether in the UK where I live or in the US, you will find that the political parties play a crucial and central role in how the government functions, how the government delivers, on their manifesto, and what becomes of the country. The political parties are so important because they are the institutions that project leaders. We do not have independent candidacy in our country, and therefore my attention is this, or my call is this, that Nigerians should become more interested in what becomes of our political parties. It doesn't matter, whether you are in PDP or APC. I think that we all need to be interested. We all need to be concerned about how our political parties are governed and run, because at the end of it all, it is these institutions that produce the leaders that we will contend.
So are you inadvertently saying, Dr. Idaewor, that your party has not done anything to implement its own manifesto? Or, to put it the other way, are you saying that the manifesto of your party has not been implemented?
Well, when you talk about the manifesto of APC, you listen to the president's speech today, and you listen to him over the years since he came in. It has been consistent that of the APC manifesto, he picked out those things that he felt were most crucial and most important, to ensuring that Nigeria, is fast-tracked, into a developed status. And he has always insisted on security. He has always insisted on employment generation. He has always insisted on diversifying our economies, and you will find that these have been the core areas that president has focused his attention on. And I think that how this government is judged will have to be on those areas that the president has constantly said that he wanted to focus. And that was why I made the point, when I started answering your question, that we need to take a close look at our political parties, because I think they are important. It is very important for us to put ourselves in a place as a country, regardless of which party we belong to ensure that the institutions that produce our leaders are strengthened to deliver the best Nigerians that we can have to step into our political space.
Dr. Idaewor, I repeat and I come back to that question. Do you think that your party has done, or rather has implemented, its party manifesto? If you permit me, I'll quote from your party manifesto, which says,
yes, please. Yeah.
The first item, the first any other thing which is in the party manifesto says, initiate action to amend our constitution with a view to devolving power, duties, and responsibility to states and local government in order to entrench true federalism and the federal spirit. Now, 6 years down the line, Dr. Idaewor, do you think that your party has done that which they stated, the first sentence in that party manifesto?
Yes, I think that in terms of what our party has done, I think that our party set out. I mean, you will recall that our party set up the Governor El-Rufai Committee, which they did an excellent, brilliant job. They went around the country. They got all necessary information. We've listened to Governor El-Rufai himself talking about what they did. To the extent of preparing the documents for initiation at the National Assembly. It is not, the party that will send such documents to the National Assembly to push forward. I think that once the party has done this, the party took the necessary step and did what the party ought to do. Again, it boils down to the point I am making. The party can do all that, or can set in motion the processes to ensure that manifestos are implemented. Our form of democracy is such that the president ultimately decides whether they wanted to go ahead with some aspect of the manifesto or not. That is our form of democracy. That is where we are at this point in time in our democratic experience and development. And I think that is why I say, and I come back to that point, that our political parties need to be strengthened to do better. And it's not just about APC, but all parties in Nigeria for the sake of Nigeria.
Well, I am aware we have so many political parties in Nigeria, but I am narrowing down to APC because that is that platform, as long as I'm aware, that you will be running for presidency come 2023. I will come to that later. But if I come back to your party manifesto here, I would want to also know, are you alluding by the way you've answered this question now that the president has the power to pick and choose what is in the party manifesto, what he will implement, and what he's not going to implement?
I think that at where we are at, in terms of our democratic experience, the president can do such, because he is the one on the seat. He will have to decide, what he thinks. Either him and his team or his cabinet has the capacity to bring forward.
And there is no consequences for that if he does that within, and the party that have taken that decision, there is no consequences.
At this point in time, within the Nigerian setup, as I see it, these are some of the flaws and weaknesses. I get the point you are making. And if you ask me, one of the key and most important objective that I think that we as Nigerians must and should insist on is that if we say that democracy is a government of the people, by the people and for the people, and the people, makes up the party, and the party, picks and enters into a social contract with the people, those should be held sacrosanct. Okay, so that is my personal view, and I believe that it all boils down to the weaknesses that we are still experiencing in our political evolution. How we deal with these, I think that is what will determine how we come out at the other end of the tunnel, considering where we are at this point in time in our national development.
Okay, now, Dr. Idaewor, I recall, you made mention of the El-Rufai Restructuring Committee. I have in many forums praised that initiative, but again, it stops at the point of initiative. It didn't go further than that. Now, if we recall, I once had a conversation here with Pa Tanko Yakasai. And Tanko Yakasai said here on this platform that the El-Rufai committee was an ambush by the former chairman of the APC, in the person of Oyegun, the former, the former chairman before Adams Oshomole took over. So that the Buhari, or rather that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, sees that El-Rufai report as an ambush from the south to twist him. That's why he cannot just in that. Do you think Tanko Yakasai is right, and that is the reason why the president appeared to have, in one part, in one moment, have actually said, well, anyone who is calling for restructuring of the country, quote unquote, then indirectly means that that person is an enemy of the state. Do you think that Tanko Yakasai is right in that assertion?
Well, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what Tanko Yakasai knows, because I mean, I have not sat down with him. He's an elder statesman. He probably has access to information that I don't have access to. But as far as I am concerned, and as far as I know, our party's constitution stated what you stated. And I believe, I mean, our party's manifesto, and it's my view that a party's manifesto is a social contract between the party and the people. Okay, and it should be that as much as possible, what is stated in the constitution and the manifesto of a party is implemented, and where it is not possible, that the people there should be a conversation with the people to explain to them the difficulties and the challenges. The issue of an ambush, coming from the party on the president, I think that is, in my opinion, something that shouldn't have come up at all, because if the party supported the president to become president, the party worked hard, and campaigned and projected Mr. President, why would they want to ambush him? His success is our success. Mr. President's success is our success. Not just our success as a political party, but our success as Nigerians. If Mr. President, if there are policies that he has initiated that are having a positive impact and positive outcome, it's for our own good. We will all be happy as Nigerians. So I wouldn't go along the line that he has gone. As I said, he's an older statesman. He's an elder statesman. He probably has access to information I don't have access to. But I wouldn't know why such a thing would be seen as an ambush.
Without I don't want to dwell. This will be my last question on this. Then we'll move on. Without really taking side or trying to see if it's right or wrong. Now, having seen the way Mr. President, even before the last election, it appears the party structure was totally discarded until the election came. The party faithfuls, they began to look for party faithfuls back to get them back on track. Having seen all these things, I see no reason from the way and the things that the party promised Nigerians that they would do. One of the famous one was the one cited in Owerri, that dollar was going to be 1 naira. Anyway, on a lighter note,
but that is not in our party's manifesto.
Well, that's part of the campaign promises. Anyway, we were told that 214 naira is too much to pay. But obviously today it's gone more than times two. That's a discussion for another day. But I will stay in the party manifesto for this last question, Dr. Philip Idaewor. Now, many people say in Nigeria they do not understand the difference between APC and PDP. Hence, they move crisscross, zigzag. Today, someone could be in the APC. In the afternoon, he could be in PDP. In the evening, he goes back to the APC. Now, I ask you point blank, what is the ideology of the APC as a party?
APC set up, nurtured to grow as a social democratic welfarist, people-centered party. That is the focus of APC. Now, the ongoing scenarios on ground and the behavior of our political actors and political leaders is a very different thing altogether, and that has to do with the issue I referred to earlier. Let us look at how the average Nigerian political leader relates to or relates with the average Nigerian. And we have to take steps back here to ask ourselves certain questions. Nigeria, what is our most important, most valued asset? Is it oil? In my opinion, no. Is it our solid minerals? The answer is no to me. In my view, our most important and most valued asset is our human capital, the Nigerian. The Nigerian person is our most important valued asset. And the relationship between the political players and the Nigerian is vital and important in most of the issues that we are confronted with as of today. The fact that we are having all the troubles and problems we are having is because Nigerians basically are simply not respected or regarded by most political leaders. Most of our leaders, they don't. This is the reality. Okay? And when you treat the people that you are supposed to nurture, you are supposed to encourage, you are supposed to lead, you are supposed to take care of, when you treat them with disdain and disregard and disrespect, chances are that you are likely to get negative responses. So this is my answer to your question with regard to how people are moving about. Since I became a member of a political party for the first time in 1999. I joined AD in Edo State, and I have remained on that political journey since then. I have never moved from AD, we became AC, from AC we became ACN, from ACN we became APC. And I think that politics should be about ideas and it should be about principles. It should not be about the doctrine of power for the sake of power. Okay, power to do what? To dominate others. So I really feel that it is our duty as Nigerians, all of us, not just members of any political party. Whether you are in a political party at the moment or not, it is our duty to keep insisting and pushing the idea that Nigerians should begin to take a second look at the way our political parties are being managed and being run, so that we can grow our political parties to become institutions strong enough to determine the direction of our governments, strong enough to ensure that our best and most able are the people that are projected into political offices, because that is what will define our future. Without this, we are just going to keep on in this circle of people moving all over the place because they want power.
Dr. Idaewor, thank you for those answers. Now, recently, you've declared that you want to take part in the 2023 presidential race under the All Progressive Congress, the APC, a party which you've joined since the merger in 2013-14.
Yeah.
Now, may I ask, what informed this decision? Bearing in mind, there is this conversation that when President Muhammadu Buhari finishes, that power is returning to the South. Why do you think you are the candidate to beat come 2023? And what is it you think you will do differently from what is currently being done?
Thank you, Maazi. I think that I didn't look at it from the point of view of North or South. I've looked at the issue of political leadership for our beautiful and dear country from the point of view purely of how can we as Nigerians create a new narrative? How can we craft a new story that is beautiful for our country, for our people, for Nigerians, for us, particularly for our younger compatriots? How can we create an environment that enables them to deploy their energies and their creative capabilities, to leapfrog Nigeria into the 21st century in a technologically driven age? The world today is in a state where technology, in all its ramifications, is what is driving development and driving human happiness. My view is this: that first of all, we need to invest in us as a people, as Nigerians. That for me is the most important asset. And that is what we should first of all develop. That is what we should focus on. Ensuring that the Nigerian is valued, that the Nigerian is prepared to live in a world that is not only limited to Nigeria, but a world that is global. And that means that they have to be equipped, they have to be prepared, and they have to be, the environment has to be right for them, both in terms of how you educate, educate ourselves, but also the psychological priming of who we are as Nigerians and as Africans. We need to prepare this ground, and I think that is what has challenged me. And as I have conversations with my friends, with colleagues, and asking questions, and we keep talking. We've been talking for quite a while, so it's not something that has happened suddenly. And I feel that we, as Nigerians, can craft a new story to reboot our country. Now, and it's not just rhetorics. Okay. It is something that I feel that we can do if we concentrate our attention in ensuring that the Nigerian person is given a new lease of life. Let's move our attention away from all the things that oil and agriculture and all that. Oil will not develop itself. It's the Nigerian person that will manage our oil resources. Agriculture will not drive itself. It's the Nigerian person that will drive it. And the innovation, the innovative capability is there. We can see it, when we are given the opportunity as Nigerians.
Are you in the race to win the 2023 election, or are you there to obstruct and upset the system?
Firstly, let me start from say I'm not there to obstruct anyone or to obstruct the system. I am there to win the race. I believe that we need to begin to you see, let me say something, Maazi. The most important element in the life of a community, society, or country is politics. Politics defines what happens to you as an individual. Politics, defines what happens to a community, to a society, to a country. We cannot continue to leave politics in the hands, as Nigerians, leave politics in the hands of people whose patriotic zeal, is not even, cannot home in with our people anymore. We should no longer continue to accept this. I don't know about obstructing. I don't know about anything else. All I know is this: that I am inviting, by the Hope 2023 movement, I'm inviting Nigerians to begin to think of the audacity, to do the impossible.
But we understand. I understand where you're coming from. But again, being realistic, this is Nigeria. We are not made of angels. Rather, we know what we are made of.
Yeah.
There is a cliche in Nigeria that you cannot be thinking, I'm talking about presidency, without having, quote unquote, the war chest. How do you deal with that?
Again, I think that is another glass ceiling or narrative that we all, I keep using the word we all should strive to break. We should destroy it. In the UK where I live, I've never heard in the years I've been here of a candidate spending their money to campaign for an election. I've never heard. And I mean, I'm sure Maazi, we all follow the elections
Well,
in the
but
US. Okay.
but the UK is not Nigeria.
Yes, I know. That is where I'm coming to. And that is what is going on in our system is wrong. And if we continue to submit ourselves to men of money power, if we continue to allow Nigerians to be subdued under the power of money, we are simply saying to ourselves that as a country we are not ready to become what we could potentially be. I
So
believe that.
What you're basically saying is that your candidacy, you're driving for a paradigm shift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I say this. I made the point earlier. What democracy is a government of the people, not of one man. Democracy is not democracy. It's not a government of money. It's not a government of an elite class. It's not a government of a club. It's a government of the people. That is what democracy is. I am inviting Nigerians to come forward and fight for democracy. And how do you do that? Come together, organize, fundraise, street to street. Pull yourselves together and ensure that going forward, our country will become a place where the best, they may not have money in their pocket, but they are good, they are passionate, they are patriotic, they are willing to listen, and they are willing to interact. These are the kind of people that we need to take Nigeria forward.
Now,
people who are willing to listen.
Okay, how do you deal with the narrative when you see the Southwest saying that when the presidency comes, you have a man in the person of Bola Ahmed Asuwaju, who is saying that who in 2015 submitted his ambition to become vice president to Yemi Osibanjo based on Muslim ticket. And obviously he's currently warming up from London Hospital to become the next president. And on the other hand, you have the people of the Southeast saying since the inception of democracy, they haven't had a bite, a taste of that it is morally their right to become the next to produce the presidency. Now you have these two main blocks. In the words of your brother, Patrick Obiagbon says they are both now engaging in a feast of Barakboism. If that is the case, where does that leave you in the geopolitical equation of Nigeria?
All right. Now, I'm a Nigerian. That is who I am. I'm an African. That is who I am. I understand and I am fully sympathetic to the views that come from supporters of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has done a lot for our democracy. He made tremendous sacrifices pre 1999. So there are things you cannot take away from him, regardless of how you view him. You cannot take those things away from him. He became governor of Lagos State, and in the tsunami that President Obasanjo unleashed on the Southwest, he was the only one that survived. And we have to ask ourselves how and why he managed to survive. So there must be something about him, about his methods, and about what he's willing to do. And I think that there are a lot of people who pay glowing accolades and tributes to him for the way Lagos has been able to develop to become one of the largest economies in Africa. So, him wanting to be president of Nigeria, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. He is more than qualified to seek for that office. Now, as for the Southeast, it is the same thing. Look, why is it impossible for an Igbo man to be president of Nigeria? Why? What is wrong with that?
Would you concede the ambition to an Igbo man to become president for equity and fairness?
If my party sits down together and we go through a free and fair process and an Igbo person emerges as our presidential candidate, I can assure Nigerians that I will give my all, as I've always done, to campaign for that candidate. That is how it should be. That is democracy. That is what we should do. I think that, look, we are at a point in our national history when we should be seeking healing. We need to heal our land. We need to heal our system. We need to heal our politics. We need to put ourselves in a position where, whether you are from the southeast or southwest or south, or from the north, or from the central of Nigeria, or middle belt, wherever you are from, whether from the northwest or from the northeast, we should be in a position where, at this point in time in our national history, there are certain things that we should no longer be negotiating. I find it, honestly, every time I read about it and I listen to discussions on this, I don't know what to say, because I was a member of the Movement for National Reformation under the chairmanship of late Chief Ezeoke. All right, it's on that platform that I became involved in Idaewor, and I worked with a lot of Igbo people from 1993 until 19. I mean, who gave 101% of their time, of their energy, of their resources. I mean, recently, our elder statesman, Ndubuisi Kanu, you know, I noticed. I mean, he was being laid to rest, isn't he? Am I right? Yeah. And we knew what he did during the Idaewor time. He didn't just sit on his ass and say, I'm an Igbo man. No, he was part and parcel of the struggle and the movement. To do what? To enthrone democracy in our country. I think that we should be taking our narrative and our discussions to a new level of interrogation. What is our problem? Why is Nigeria still where she is? Why are we not able to move beyond, this issue of ethnic nationalism? I believe very firmly and strongly, for instance, that there should be restructuring. It's a view that I have held for a very long time. Okay,
that's very interesting. The same thing your party promised, but appeared incapable of doing. But let me come to something very quickly. Now, for the position you seek in 2023, what is it you're going to do differently from the current occupier of that post?
The first thing is, and I'm sure you will have gotten this from my narrative so far, the first and the most important thing is to look at where we as a country, as a people, where we are at. What is it that is making the Nigerian feel so undervalued? Why are Nigerians so angry? A lot is wrong. I mean, there's nothing hidden these days. We live in a digital age. Why are Nigerians so angry? Why are they so upset? Why is it that Nigerians want a country that is so beautiful, so large, that should be a blessing to Nigerians and to Africans? Why do they want to? Why are some calling for it to be broken up? I think that it is important that whoever becomes our next president must be somebody who is able to interrogate, bed in, and relate with the people in such a way that they will feel that our president is hearing us, is listening to us, is willing to work with us, is willing to lead us as our leader, as our national, the symbol of our national unity. We need a person of that stature, of that ability, someone who can listen. We need healing in our country. So that is the first thing. The second thing is, Nigeria cannot continue to live as if every single problem they are faced with today is new. There is nothing new that we are going through that other countries haven't gone through. Therefore, we need to have a leader, a political leader, who is willing to provide leadership on evidence base, who is willing to relate with other countries and seek answers and find out how did you do it. Look at insecurity in our country. Nigeria is not the first country that is faced with this intensity and scope of insecurity. Others have gone through and they've succeeded, breaking through and leveraging and bringing peace to their countries. We can't do the same thing.
Now you narrow down to insecurity. May I ask? I haven't read your manifesto. Are you working on one, or do you have one? If you do, what is your manifesto, and how are you going to deal with insecurity?
Whatever manifesto will come through the Hope 2023 movement or organization will be one that is completely and totally aligned, agreed with my party. Because for me, the political party is very important. That's number one. Number two, on your specific question of insecurity, I think that President Buhari has, if he beats his chest and say there is no president who has invested in rekitting our armed forces like I've done, I think that no one can debate that with him. He has invested heavily. He has done so much in rekitting our armed forces. But something is still wrong. Despite the heavy investment, despite the visible, better being or the better kitting of our armed forces, things are simply still not working the way they should work. It is my view that there are certain aspects of our national life where the question of federal character should be jettisoned. We should ensure that in certain aspects of our national life, our best, our very best in those areas are the people who are saddled with running the affairs of those sectors. Why? Because we want to break through the barriers that are holding us down very, very quickly. Security is one of them. Number two, I also believe that we need to have a rethink of the size of our armed forces. Our armed forces is stretched, and I know that in the president's speech this morning, independence speech, he spoke about the increased intake into our armed forces, over 10,000, if I remember the number exactly. But I think that we should do more than that. Nigeria is a large country. I think that we need to have boots on the ground. And how we are going to do that is something that we need to interrogate with security experts, with our party, and ensure that within the ambit of the present national structures,
okay,
we can ensure. Yeah, sorry.
We have less than 7 minutes now to go. How time flies.
Yeah.
You see, Doctor, I want you to quickly respond to this. 2 days ago, a colleague of yours, in the person of Dr. Chike Akunyel, the husband to late Professor Dora Akunyel, was murdered in Anambra State. Now, in line with what you said about security, obviously, I believe you have seen that video and the level of insecurity going on in Anambra State. If elected president today, what is it that you're going to do differently from what the current government is doing?
I'm really sorry, about what happened in this. I couldn't bring myself to watch that video, fully. I clicked on it, but I deleted it. I just couldn't watch it. The first of all, seeing the pictures was heartbreaking enough. I think that what is happening, not just in Anambra State, in the southeast, will disturb any leader, anyone. And I think that as president, it will be crucially important, very, very important, that every force of the state will be brought into action to rid the Southeast of the present level of insecurity. And mind you, Maazi, what is happening in the Southeast, although it probably is intensified or probably is being broadcasted more now, it's not new. You know, I'm a medical practitioner. I practiced in Nigeria for a long time before I came to the UK. And it's not new. I think that something needs to be done in working in alliance with the traditional institutions and the state governments. But my view is this, that the full force of the Nigerian state need and ought to be brought into action in this environment. We need to read that place.
But that's the same thing the president keeps saying. I mean, what you just repeated now is the same thing the president, even in his speech today. Now, on the screen is Kaduna, or rather Southern Kaduna, as some people may wish to say. These are 33 of our fellow compatriots who were buried yesterday. Now, these are the caskets. Again, it keeps happening over and over again. In view of this, many people are of the opinion that the nation should be divided. Some say North and South. Some say they want their own republic. Some, however, argue that the nation should be restructured. How do you then, if you, by the virtue of the office you are contesting for, how would you speak to those watching us today who say enough, they no longer want to be part of this entity called Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much, Maazi. And I think that as Nigerians, you know, it's not just me sitting here and talking to you. I think as Nigerians, we should all feel very saddened. This is not the Nigeria that I grew up in. And it speaks to the point I made earlier. We need to look at what is that block that needs to be brought in to get our security system working appropriately. Number one. Number two, the issue I also made earlier, that we need to remove the idea of federal character from certain sections or certain sectors of our national operations, even if it's for a while. I mean, I understand why the federal character thing was brought into existence in Nigeria. You know, but I think that this is something that we need to look at. Number three, we need to strike a national conversation. We cannot continue to live in a country where we are not talking to ourselves. I'm a strong advocate of restructuring. When I say restructuring, I'm not talking about you know, like some people like to say, just fiscal federalism. No, I'm talking about the restructuring of our country such that every member ethnic group in our country will have a sense of belonging. They will have confidence that they are respected and they are welcome. Nigeria is not unique in its multi-ethnic nature. Switzerland is multi-ethnic. You know, the US is multi-ethnic. UK is multi-ethnic. There's nothing strange or new about what is happening in Nigeria that cannot be resolved. What I see going on simply is this, that some individuals in the political elite group do not feel comfortable with the idea of sitting down to speak with Nigerians. They do not think that it's something that needs to happen, and we need to do it. I'm unapologetic about this, that Nigeria needs to be restructured, and we shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. It's for our own good. It's good for us to have these conversations. It's good for us to come to a consensus, an agreement of how to ensure that whether you live in the north, you live in the south, you are comfortable. I did my national youth service in General Hospital Mani. You know, I enjoyed myself. It was very busy. I gave my all, I gave my best, but I served with the heart that I'm a Nigerian. I didn't see myself as serving a different people. I saw myself as serving Nigerians. And I think that that is what we should begin to craft this, and we should be clear-headed about it. We should not be talking tongue-in-cheek. Nigeria needs to have a national conversation to restructure our system and give every section of our ethnic community, a multi-ethnic country, we need to give everyone, the big, the small, a sense of belonging. And that cannot happen by some politicians or political leaders sitting down in one place and deciding. Nigerians need to decide this. That is the
Okay,
essence
thank
of
you
what
very
we are talking about.
so thank you very much. And in conclusion, because standing up now means you're clearly saying that if elected president come 2023, all the agitators, you're going to call them for a roundtable and listen to them and know what their issues are. Is that correct? What you're
Absolutely,
saying?
absolutely. Not once, not twice, but we do it consistently until we together as Nigerians. Look, these people are not aliens. They are Africans and they are Nigerians. We need to sit down with them, listen to them, reason with them, speak with them, and find a common solution to our problem. We as Nigerians ought to do this. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that is impossible to do about this if we respect ourselves.
Thank you very much, Dr. Philip Idaewor. That's a very fine place to anchor it. I've been speaking on this one-on-one conversation with Dr. Philip Idaewor, medical practitioner, chairman, Forum of APC, Diaspora chairman, 2023 presidential aspirant under the All Progressive Congress Party. Thank you once more, Dr. Idaewor, for being part of this conversation on Ginger Media TV.
Thank you very much, Maazi. It's a real pleasure being here. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. So, people, thank you very much for being part of it. Stay tuned. We are coming back live in the next 8 minutes. In the next 8 minutes, I will be having the similar conversation with Professor Kinsley Moralu. Today, like I said before, it has been my pleasure to speak to Dr. Philip Idaewor, who is a medical doctor in the United Kingdom and who is also the chairman, Forum of APC Diaspora chairman, and also the person, who is interested and is an aspirant under the All Progressive Congress for the 2023 presidential election. On that note, I say, see us shortly. Thank you once more for being part of this conversation. It is a series called Nigeria at 61. Where are we? What progress are we making so far? Join us. We will have more people to join to have and deepen this conversation. Once more, I am still Maazi Ezeoke. Thank you and still good night.